Hello. In this video, we will work on composition of linear and quadratic functions. Sometimes you're going to have a linear function and a quadratic. Sometimes you're going to have the composition of two quadratic functions. So the way you read this is f is composed with g of x. Sometimes you might see the notation like f of g of x. So the way you're going to work this out is from the inside out. So f of g of x, or f is composed with g of x. What that means is we will start with f of x function right there, and then we're going to compose with g of x. So you're going to get this guy and substitute x with x squared, and you're going to substitute x with x squared. What does that look like? So you have f is composed with g of x. So we're going to start with f of x function. So go ahead and replace x with g of x. So g of x is x squared. But here I have squared plus 6. Now I have x that I will substitute with g of x, which is x squared. Now you just clean that up. So x squared squared is x to the fourth power, and then 6 times x squared is 6x squared. There's nothing else you can do to simplify that. Therefore, f is composed with g of x. This is your final answer for that. C is composed with d of x, or you might see as c of d of x. They're both asking you to do the same thing. So you're going to start with c of x function, and you will substitute d of x every time you see x in the c of x function. So c is composed with d of x. So this is the function. So x, we're going to replace that with d of x, and we have x squared, and then we have plus 5 right there on that function. So x has been replaced with x squared plus 5 because that's the function. So clean that up, and that's it. Some of these questions will be easier than others, but just know that it's not always the little one goes in the big one. That doesn't work that way. So you always have to follow what the question is asking, and then you read it to yourself. F is composed with g of x. So f of x is that one. G of x is this one. So every time you see x on the f of x, you're going to replace that with g of x. And in this case, g of x is this whole shebang right there. So f is composed with g of x. So start that with -5 because f of x is -5x. And in this case, x is this whole thing. So 2x squared minus 5x plus 6. And then you distribute that -5. Check to see if there's anything you can do to simplify, any combining like terms you can do. In this case, none. Therefore, this is your final answer. Last one, we have r is composed with s of x. So r, that's this function right here, is composed with s of x here. So every time I see x on r of x function, I will substitute that with s of x function right there. So r is composed with s of x squared. So x is this whole thing right there. So 4x minus 1, x squared. So if this is x, I need to square that. Minus 5, x. X is 4x minus 1, plus 4. Now, be careful with this. Think about what the square of a number represent. it's that number multiplied by itself twice. But in this case, we don't have a number, we have a binomial. So what this really means, I'm going to do it right here in the bottom. What this really means is 4x minus 1 multiplied by itself. So 4x minus 1 squared is the same thing as 4x minus 1 multiplied by itself. Okay? You can do FOIL or you can do the box. Either way, you're going to get the same answer. So let's do the box right here, just because some of you don't know what that is. And it's a good way for you to keep yourself organized. So binomial, it goes right there. For x, negative 1, and for x, negative 1. For x, negative 1, for x, negative 1. Okay? Now you multiply. 4x times 4x is 16x squared. Negative 1 times 4x is negative 4x. 4x times negative 1 is negative 4x. Negative 1 times negative 1 is positive 1. And then the last step is you combine like terms right there. And instead of writing it down right here, I'm just going to write it out right there. So 4x minus 1 squared is 16x squared minus 8x, because I'm combining like terms right there, plus 1. Distribute this negative 5. And then plus 4. Combine like terms. I don't have any other x squared, so 16x squared. I can put the two x's together, so the negative 8x and the negative 20x. And then 1 and 5 is 6, and 4 is 10. There's nothing else I can do to simplify this. Therefore, R is composed with S of x, is this whole thing right there fully simplified. Bye.